What you see here is the complete Egyptian dungeon, including the detailed pieces and the basic pieces that I have on the website. The purpose of this video is to show you what these pieces look like in case you want to build this project. It also shows all of the pieces that I'm going to auction off. Now, this is the original set I had built for the instructions on the website, and I had taken this to Gen Con several years in a row. So if you went to Gen Con and saw this set, this is the actual set that I am going to be selling on eBay. What I'm going to do in this video is to detail all of the pieces, and then I'm going to show a dungeon layout with all of the pieces put together with a little bit of music so you can kind of see how it all fits together. The first piece on my Egyptian tombs is called the Torch Corner, and this is what it looks like. It's basically a 5-inch by 5-inch square room with torches. What I'm going to do for each of these pieces is I have a 28mm mummy. So I'm going to kind of set him up there so you can kind of see what that looks like, and I'm going to give a once around on each of the pieces. I do want to mention that these are based on 1/2-inch thick pink insulating foam, and the sides are painted, but a lot of times the bottoms are not. The next pieces are the doorways, and I did make 4 of these. I've got 2 of the doorways that you see. I only show 1 on the instructions, but I actually made 2 of each. One without any door, and then I made a couple with doors already completely glued in. So what you can do is on the dungeon piece itself, if you take it, and by the way, you can just set this right in the doorway there, or if you got the little feet on it, it'd probably be better to flip it around that way. But it's more decorative this way. Let's do it this way. Let's see. I'll turn it so you can see the decoration coming at you like that. You can see what a 28mm figure would look like there. And so what you can do is you can basically put one of these in for when the door is sealed, or when you open the door, then you simply put a door open doorway on there instead. These also fit in hallways really well. So if in the middle of a hallway you want to suddenly put a door, you can just drop these in for a closed door or an open door in the middle of a hallway. Now this one is the secret mummy door, and I do have the secret door blocks on here. I glued this one back into place because my design on the mummy door really wasn't all that good. Actually, you can kind of see right here, if you look close where that is kind of cracked. Those were actually the hinges that cracked, and this section would kind of lift back and you could get behind it. The next one I have is the mummification room, which is pretty much a low wall room. Pretty simple room. It's got the mummy there, and it's got a couple of vases glued in between, and you can kind of see what a regular 28mm mummy looks like compared to that particular one. Next one's called the panel corner, and basically it's a corner with something on the inside right here just to kind of make it stand out a little bit. And it's got kind of the doors back in here. They don't open. They're permanently glued into place as part of the design. I do like that I put this little window in here so you don't know who's peeking out at you. The next one I call the secret panel door, which isn't much of a secret because it actually looks like a door. But anyway, this one does open like this. So this one uses the secret panel blocks. You see that these two are a little bit rounded, so it'll allow it to open. So that's kind of how the secret door opens, or I had made it to work. Like I said, I should have designed it better, but that's what it is. Actually, I believe I cast these 2 hinges in resin and then glued it into the rest, and that's why you see it a little bit slightly different color, and that's why it's held up over these years, because I actually made that one in resin. This is the coffin stand, and this is what it looks like. It's got the coffin mummy and the torches in the background, so I'll give you kind of a once around on it. And this is how it compares to a 28mm figure. And this is basically meant to be like an objective that you can set in a room. So if the next piece that I'm going to do, if I just set it in the room here, you can kind of see how that fits with the room right there. This one right here is the mummy shrine, and it's got there's nothing that opens up here, but basically it's got the small pillars in it going all the way around. So I'll give you kind of a once around on what that one looks like. And that one right there is the mummy shrine, and once again 28mm figure in that, so you can see what that one looks like. Next is the coffin room, which has 3 coffins kind of permanently on the side. This hallway is 5 inches long. Actually, it's a room. It's like a really short room. So give you a quick once around on this particular piece right here. Pretty basic, pretty simple piece, but it makes a nice objective, and once again 28mm figure there. Next one is a stair end. It's basically stairs that kind of go down to a dead end. So they're thinking that there's something beyond the wall, but they can't get past it. Next is the burial chamber. It's got a statue in the back, and it's got a couple of torches. You can kind of see this one broken open. That's kind of what a close-up of that particular tomb that's been broken open. And this one's in good shape. There's a vase glued to it, but that actually offers you a handle because this will lift out and you've got some secret stairs going down. So you can see how it's kind of cut into the foam at the bottom underneath of the piece there. But that's that particular room right there. Now I've included 2 doorways in this set. These are just basically, I think I only show building 1, but I actually made 2 that are on the set. And once again, like the other doorways, you simply just drop them in. I don't have an open doorway, I just have these with the gate permanently glued in. And you can also, just the same as the other doorways, you can put these in to any of the entrances to a room to block off a room. On to the next one. This is the throne entrance, and that's what this piece looks like right here. It's got a couple statues on each side, and it's got a doorway in the back. That's what the back side looks like. And this, I've only got 1 loose gate in this particular set, so there's only 1 gate here. And you can kind of take and set it up and put it in the doorway. You do have to be a little careful with it though, because there's no real base to it. You see it kind of flops around. The next one is Statue Hall, and it's a 6-inch long hallway, so you can kind of see what that looks like. And that's a 28mm figure, so you can use that for size comparison. And that's kind of pretty simple. On the back, I did at least decorate it with a couple of panels. And this one I call Statue Corner. It's just a simple corner piece, as you can see. I did kind of decorate the front, so I just had a little experiment with some of the decorative pieces to make it a little more interesting. This one I called 3 doorways, which of course, because it has 3 doorways. I do like that I kind of added a kind of a little decoration on the front here, but this is just basically a 6-inch hallway. It's a cross hallway, so there's an opening here and there's an opening going through, so you can kind of make it a central kind of at a central location to branch out the dungeon that you want to make. The next one is called Statue Trap, and it's just a small hallway section with blocked off at the end with a statue. But this statue does remove. You can take it and kind of slide it out, and so that that's what the statue looks like there. And it fits pretty snug, but you can kind of move it in there. The other thing is I do have a couple of gates down here below, and there's actually a hole, so these actually you can kind of take up and remove those, and you can see the hole in the bottom of the piece right here. So you can kind of use that as a trap in the dungeon if you want to, and that's pretty much what the whole thing looks like all put together as far as a hallway section. This one's the Forbidden Pool entrance, and this is the first one that I did with actually resin. This one right here, you can see the water goes and stops and it's gated off. And by the way, of course, that gate is permanently embedded in the resin, so it will never be able to be removed. That's what the front of the piece looks like. And you see I've got a couple little decorations on the corner. We've got the statues. And then if you flip it around to the back side, you can kind of see the gate. And you can see where the resin kind of overlapped, where I had blocked it off and sealed it off with tape and poured it. So you're going to see a little bit of a discoloration right there from that. And this one here I called Panel End. It's basically just the end of a hallway. And you can kind of see how decorative it is right there. It's got the 1-inch square decorative tile in the middle with the border all the way around it. And the back side is kind of decorated as well. So you can use that to kind of block off one of the dead ends of the hallway that you don't know what to do with. This one's called the Watergate, and there's a closed version and an open version. I know it looks a little discolored on the front there, but that's really all right, because when you connect it up with another piece, like the next water cavern I'm going to show, when you butt it up against there, you'll never see that there's any kind of discoloration there. The reason I've got this like this, an open and closed version, is because when you're in the dungeon and this one is closed and you can't get past it, and once somebody opens it, you simply switch this piece for the open version, and now they can go through it. Let me give you a quick close-up of what this looks like all the way around. Basically, the walls are plain, and you can see that that's kind of embedded into the resin like that, and that's kind of what the top of the piece looks like. You can tell that the water is textured on all of these pieces. The water is textured using 5-minute epoxy. Next piece is a water corner, and it's basically simple, a corner with decorative statues on it. So it's a corner just like some of the other corner pieces that I have, but it allows you to make a corner on the waterway, and you can kind of see the texture on the... This piece is called the water crossing, and its main purpose is to form a cross that allows you to cross the water with the other parts of the dungeon. So if I kind of zoom out a little bit here, you can see that I can continue the waterway going all the way through, like it crosses through the dungeon this way. You can kind of see that the water crosses through. And the other way, I could just go ahead and extend with regular dungeon this way. So it'll form a cross between the water and the regular dungeon pieces. And we got kind of a little stepping stone. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's actually a dark hole right there. You see it? So if somebody jumps off there, they can actually swim down underneath and possibly explore some other place on the dungeon. This one's called the Waterway Spring, and I like to consider it to be like the beginning of one of the waterways. So it flows from the fountain, and then it goes back in where you can kind of continue it further in the dungeon with pieces and continue your waterway flowing from there. You will notice I did make this with 5-minute epoxy, and I wish at the time of making it I had known that I probably should have used clear varnish instead, because if you look on it, you can kind of see that the streams of water are kind of brownish coming out of there. So just be aware that if you purchase this on an eBay auction, all of these fountains are going to be discolored a little bit like that. So that's basically what you have. The water underneath really still kind of holds its greenish tint, because I did tint it with green ink, and then if it reddens up a little bit, you don't really notice it because it's got reddish stone under it, so it kind of seems natural. This one is the Ram's Head End. It's just basic dungeon hallway end, so you can kind of end it fairly neatly. This one's a simple 4-way intersection, and it's got kind of a nice doorway here with the pillars on each side. There's also, you can kind of see the lion's heads on both sides of the entrance on top of that, and it's got a little decoration on the floor. This one's a small fountain, and once again you can see that the fountain part is a little bit discolored, kind of a brownish hue. Once again, should have used clear varnish instead of 5-minute epoxy on it, and I kind of forgot to do it, but once again, that's a 28mm figure on that. And this one I called the fountain corner. It's basically just a corner piece for the waterway, and it's got a little bit of decoration rather than just have a plain corner. But that's basically what that piece looks like right there. This one's called Pillar Hall, and this one is a 6-inch by 9-inch room. This is actually one of the larger rooms that I've got on here. This is what a 28mm figure would look like within that room, and you can kind of see that it's got pillars on the side with a little vases sort of recessed, so it's kind of nice. Both sides are exactly the same, so showing you one side's pretty much the same as showing you the other side. And my final piece is the large fountain. This is a 9-inch by 9-inch room, and it is the largest room that I think I had ever made. This one, the fountain has 8 spouts. It's got 4 up above and it's got 4 below. So I'm going to try to get it up close so you can kind of take a look around and see. It's pretty much symmetrical, so the designs on one side are pretty much the designs on the other. I've got the same statues going across the front, and you can see, of course, the 5-minute epoxy sort of discolored them, so I don't know, maybe you'll think that is a blood fountain or something. Also, the large fountain, this is where I actually had signed this particular piece, so that one you can tell it's got the pink foam has got the manufacturer's information on it, but I never bothered to paint over that. But anyway, that's what that is. So that completes all of the pieces to the detailed Egyptian dungeon. Now finally, the last pieces I want to show you are from the basic Egyptian tomb set. These all the way up to here are from my basic instructions, and they're also included in this set that I'm going to have for sale. They're just basic rooms, hallways, T's corners, and a stair piece and a dead end. In addition, there's a couple of extra waterway pieces I've made, a T, a couple of sections, and a dead end as well. Now, I'm also going to include these miniatures in the sale as well. These are from Crocodile Games, and they have a line of Egyptian figures. These were painted by Robert Sparenberg many years ago. So they'll also be included in the sale. And that's pretty much everything that's involved in this Egyptian tomb set.